I don't know that.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the November 29th, 2016 regular meeting at 6 p.m. for the Laverne Planning Commission. Our first item of business is to approve the minutes for the public hearing we had last month. I'll take a moment to review those.
Make a motion to accept as submitted.
I have a motion to accept as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes passed for the special hearing. Our next item is to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of the Laverne Planning Commission of October 25th.
Motion to accept as submitted.
I have a motion to accept as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes passed. Our first item on the agenda this evening, our old business, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen request for subdivision acceptance of the Walmart commercial subdivision requested by Carlson Consulting Services, 3 lots on 45.15 acres, property located along Murfreesboro Road, Plat Book 38, page 257, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Walmart Real Estate Business Trust. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the workshop, we did receive a copy of the as-built drawings, but they have, they had omitted a fair amount of information, so they will need to be corrected. That's the only technical item we have tonight, so they have requested to defer 1 more month.
Excellent. For that item, our next item of business, under new business, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen request for subdivision acceptance of the Centrepointe Lot 13 and the re-subdivision of Lot 14 Industrial Park subdivision requested by Little John Engineering, 3 lots and public utility extension on 108.2 acres, property located between Centrepointe Drive and Centrepointe Way, tax map 029, parcel 1.08 and tax map 017, parcel 37.04, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by CPDC Centrepointe Holdings, LLC. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have received the as-built drawings. There have been some changes in staff that was working on this project, and they were unaware that they had to get us the maintenance bond and the dedication form, so they are working on those and expect to have them in time for the next month, so they have requested to defer 1 month.
We'll defer that item as well. Our next item of business, site plan, Tennessee Farmers Cooperative, request by Hudson Steel, proposed 4,560 square foot material shed on 2.44 acres, property located at 130 Jordan Drive, tax map 015N, Group A, Parcel 8, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Tennessee Farmers Co-op. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the workshop, we did discuss a handful of technical items. They have added the note pertaining to no utility service and the no additional stormwater runoff. They have provided 4 different images of the panels, gutters, downspouts, and the framing that they are proposing to utilize. You can see the colors there. We have no technical items to address, and if you have any questions on the coloring or the materials, I do believe we have a representative present.
Very good. Could a representative from Tennessee Farmers Cooperative please come to the podium? State your name and address for the record.
Enoch Gerald with Huddleston Steel Engineering. Also with me is Mr. Jimmy Ogilvy with the Farmers Co-op.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
The runoff is which direction that goes?
It all heads down towards Jordan Drive. It's going to exist the way it is today. Nothing's changing on the stormwater runoff.
Any other questions or comments?
Make motion to approve as submitted.
I have a motion to approve as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
Thank you very much.
Our next item of business, site plan, Pyles Concrete requested by Warren Engineering Services, 8,860 square foot proposed concrete batch plant on 4 acres, property located at 160 Jones Boulevard, tax map 017, parcel 7.15, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by JKW LLC. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the workshop, we had a handful of technical items, and they have all been addressed at this time. Just to point out, the middle driveway has also been widened to the requested 24 feet per the workshop comments. They did move the sewer service line, and the elevations on your screen they provided just for informational purposes. They're not required to actually submit them, but they wanted you to see what the building was proposed to look like. And we do have a representative from Warren Engineering Services and Pyles Concrete if you have any questions.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, I think they answered all the questions or made all the changes requested, so I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
Motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. Our next item of business, site plan, Bran Tire Shop requested by Rogers Group, Inc., Engineering Services, 1,650 square foot proposed automobile repair shop on 0.35 acres, property located at 1501 Piercy Street, tax map 0140, Group A, parcel 39, I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Jose Bran. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did discuss the alternative screening, and at the workshop, they have, per the request, they have increased the height to 8 feet for the shadow fence as opposed to 6 feet. They have provided as well some elevations which were discussed. They propose they've got a mix of materials from split block and metal, and propose to have a neutral color. They were approved for a handful of variances at the BOZA meeting earlier this evening, including a front yard variance, a rear yard variance, and building setback variance for the front and the rear. So the only other item of note is, at that meeting, the motion to approve the variance was contingent upon a 15-foot rear yard, which means that the building will have to be pulled in about 3 feet. I think that they were actually proposing it to be 26 and a half, but we have a representative that can speak to that specific dimension. So we do have there are no technical items to address as of this evening.
Could I have a representative from Bran Tire Shop please come to the podium? And please state your name and address for the record.
Andy Leith with Rogers Engineering, or Rogers Group, 114B West Main Street, Gallatin, Tennessee.
Thank you, sir. With the, I guess this is my own thought process. With the changes to the plans, do we need to vote on it, or does it need to come back next month for you to fix everything accordingly and kind of?
Well, all that we have to fix is just the building size,
Yeah.
which pull it in from 30 foot. It'll go from 30 foot down to 27 and a half foot. Give the 15-foot rear yard.
Okay. And it would be basically just shaving it off the north,
It'd be off the
East
east
side?
side,
The
the
northeast,
east side,
yes.
yes.
east side.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question. I was in the last meeting sitting over here. It says site plan by a Bran Tire Shop, request for Rogers Group Corporate Engineer Service, and so on and so on. Proposed automobile repair shop. Now, what is it gonna be? A tire shop? We got talked before in another meeting about being tire shops
Yes.
and changing tires. Now we're talking about automobile repair shop. Can you explain that, please?
Yes, sir, I will. In your zoning ordinance, tire shop is not a use. Automobile repair is a use. So that, we put that on the plans as the use of this property. The tire shop falls under the automobile repair use.
Right.
Your category, so to say.
Your
would be
category, yes.
Subcategory.
automobile.
That's fine.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, we do have an issue because the drawings in front of us that we approved and we disapproved don't match what's going to be built. And so there's a little concern there of how we handle it.
And that was what prompted my initial question. Should we ask for a deferral and let you draw everything out and come back to us? Or would you like to request a deferral? And
Well, if I had my preference and my client also, we would like for it to be approved contingent upon pulling the building down to 27.5 feet.
traditionally, we don't really do anything contingent on. We like to look at the plans that we're actually approving as they are. I understand the time restraint, but it's just really, we would prefer a deferral so we can come back to workshop, go over everything, any changes that are made, and then,
If that's y'all's process, then we don't have an option, right?
oh, you do have an option. We can vote on it.
Well, I mean, the plans will be changed to accommodate the Board of Zoning Appeals. We're not, our client's not arguing that. If he wants to be held up a month, then I'll let him make that decision.
It
You understand
puts
what they're
everything on
asking for?
paper correctly in front of planning. That way, we're not doing anything contingent on.
Sure. Do you understand what he's asking?
No, I quite didn't hear it.
Because the Board of Zoning Appeals has asked us to change the building to make it smaller.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, could you have him step up to the
Yeah.
podium, please?
Yes, please step to the podium.
This is Mr. Bran, he's the owner. This is Mr. Bran, this is Mr. Ramirez, this is the interpreter.
Thank you.
So what he's wanting to do, because the Board of Zoning Appeals has asked us to shorten the width of the building, the drawings that are right in front of them, the drawings show a 30-foot building instead of 27.5.
El plan que te voy a hacer, demuestra que de 30 dimensiones y estamos que van a en otro plan.
So they're wanting you to come back next month at the next meeting.
Y
What?
regresar el mes con los planes correctos.
You okay with that? Okay, he's okay.
So if you would just formally ask for a deferral to next month's meeting and we'll see
So we'll ask for a deferral to change the building width to next month.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We'll be deferring that item. Our next item of business, preliminary plat Lake Woods Phase 7 requested by Womble and Associates. 25 proposed lots on 8.38 acres. Property located along Hollandale Road, tax map 006, parcel 16, and 23.01, R2 medium density residential zoning district, property owned by Adnan Shriedman. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, this plat had expired, so we did not have any technical items to address. However, with the exception of the date, and Mr. Womble did make sure to revise the spelling of Laverne properly on all of the plats. So we have no technical items to address.
Any questions or comments from the board?
The change, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept and submit it.
A motion to accept is submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Our next item of business, preliminary plat Lake Woods Phase 8 requested by Womble and Associates, 18 proposed lots on 5.98 acres, property located along Hollandale Road and Shintara Drive, tax map 006, parcel 13 and 23.01, R2 medium density residential zoning district, property owned by Adnan Shriedman. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did discuss a couple of notes being added pertaining to vehicular access. That has been done. Again, the date's been changed and the spelling has been corrected, so we have no technical items tonight.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
Change, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept and submit it.
Motion to accept. Do you have a second?
Second.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that motion passes as well. Our next item of business, preliminary plat Lake Woods Phase 9 requested by Womble and Associates, 28 proposed lots on 9.66 acres, property located along Shintara Drive, tax map 006, parcel 19.01 and 23.01, R2 medium density residential zoning district, property owned by Adnan Shriedman. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, we have had the date and the spelling corrected, and we did have some notes added pertaining to vehicular access, for lots 901 and 924, per our workshop discussion. So we have no technical items.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Let me address, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept as submitted.
Have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes as well. Our next item of business, preliminary plat Waldron Commercial Subdivision requested by Waldron and Associates, proposed public utility extension on 3.43 acres, property located along Industrial Boulevard, tax map 029, parcel 14, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Roy Waldron. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did have some items that needed to be addressed at the workshop, but they were all very administrative, very minor. It was mostly removing final plat information to match the preliminary plat requirements. All of that has been updated and provided, and we have no technical items tonight.
Thank you.
Chairman, having been addressed as requested, I make a motion to accept as submitted.
A motion to accept. We have a second.
Second.
A second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business, final plat, 119 Chaney Boulevard, requested by SECE. Two proposed lots on 0.66 acres, property located at 119 Chaney Boulevard, tax map 018P, Group C, Parcel 3, R3 High Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Gala LLC. Ms. Costanza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have in your packet a deferral request. I had pointed out to them that their fire hydrant location, it had initially been omitted from the final plat before the workshop, and when they returned the new plans, you can see there's a notation that says 580 feet to the nearest hydrant, and at Nelson, which is too far. It has to be within 500 feet or less. So they have decided that they do need to defer so that they can go back to preliminary plat stage to be able to show that public hydrant. So you do have a request to defer, and I would expect that we would get the preliminary plat next month. I also just wanted to point out the discussion that we had about the sidewalk along the opposite side of Chaney, or the side that does not have the sidewalk, obviously. They pointed out that they would have to do a fairly large-scale engineering and grading drainage study, because when the road was upgraded and they put the sidewalks in on the other side of Chaney, they didn't match any of that. Any of the improvements that were on that side were not matched on this side. So there still is a drainage ditch that runs along the front or through the property, and they did discuss it with their clients. They said they would be perfectly happy to install the sidewalk had the their side of the road looked like the opposite side, but because it's not, it's going to be very difficult without some sort of major grading, drainage, and engineering study. So I just wanted to point that out. I know it was discussed that we really wanted to have the sidewalks installed on this side because of the location, the proximity to the school. Granted, there are no sidewalks, the entire, there's no sidewalks all the way until you get to this, on this side of the road until you get to the school. And then at that point, the sidewalks on the other side of Chaney drop off. So it's kind of an interesting network, but I just wanted to point that out, since we did have, that was something that was discussed. Because they were deferring, I told Mr. Molchan he did not need to come to, he needed to be at another meeting tonight, so, if we have any, I guess think about those comments between now and, we will be looking at this again next month, so, I do believe that they would like to put money into a fee, the fee and lieu bank, but, that was something that was discussed at workshop, and it was a fairly important point, it seemed like, to the commission members, so just wanted to put.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Since
sir.
your father lives next door up there, area I'm talking about, on top of the hill there,
Mhm.
I noticed some clearing land up there on the left, as you go out by the church, right next to your daddy's property. There's a clearing land back in there. Do you know what they're doing there? Are they building something there eventually?
Not that I'm gonna,
Residential.
I've noticed that it's been cleared, but I
It
didn't.
is residential, right?
It is
And so-
residential.
So I guess they got permitted to do that, but, I was wondering what that was right there. Why I'm bringing that up, sidewalks would be feasible if they can make it work.
That's, and I agree with you, Mr. King, that's gonna be totally problematic because regardless of the situation that exists right now, if we continue to,
Push it to the
just
side.
push it to the side, we'll never get sidewalks out there. And you've got residents in a school, so that's gonna be a major issue, for him. That's a major obstacle
Yeah.
for him to come in and explain why.
Yes.
In lieu of, because at some point, the city will pick up that tab. Because the sidewalks will have to go there if we don't start at some point to fix it. So, I look forward to seeing him next month.
I will be
Yeah.
sure to relay that information to him. I did explain that it was, highly desired by the commission, so.
we will definitely discuss it at workshop. Any other questions or comments on that item? We will move on to bonds and letters of credit.
I have passed out the bonds and letters of credit for you. Everything is up to date. Jay could probably explain it a little bit more in depth, but everything is current. And I think the next one to drop off is the Woodsong maintenance bond, which is the very last item on the maintenance bond list.
Any other questions or comments?
He was okay with Chelsea Estate.
Yes, it's been updated.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, everyone. Meeting is adjourned.